Okay. Okay, Bikram, I'm waiting for others. So let them come, then we can start.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Bikram. But where are others? Okay, Bikram, let me start. So I don't know when they will join. We should not waste time. Okay, can you see this? Bikram, can you confirm? Can you see this PowerPoint?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so we were discussing a specific heat. Okay, we started
Yes, sir.
discussions about a specific heat, and today I have given the notes in Google Classroom. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so specific heat, the definition is simple. Every substance requires a unique amount of energy per unit mass to change the temperature of that substance by 1 degree Celsius. Okay. So this is the formula. So specific heat is C, small c equal to capital C by M, and it can also be written as capital Q divided by M delta dash T. Okay. So M is the mass of the substance and delta D is the change in temperature. So here capital Q is the amount of heat which is supplied to a substance. Okay. So in other words, if you supply a given amount of heat to a substance, if the given amount of heat is capital Q, then its temperature will increase by delta T. Okay. So Q equal to mc delta dot and mc delta T, Q equal to mc delta T, and this small c is nothing but the specific heat. Okay. Okay. So specific heat can be of two types: specific heats at constant pressure and specific heat at constant volume. So
Yes,
specific heat at constant pressure means you increase the temperature of unit mass of a substance uh, at constant pressure. Okay. The temperature increase should also be unit, but the process has to be carried at constant pressure. Okay. Similarly, specific heat at constant volume is also another concept. And specific heat at constant volume means this is the amount of heat which is required to raise the temperature of unit mass of a substance through 1 degree Celsius, keeping the volume constant. Okay. So we have learned about the formulas of specific heat at constant pressure or volume. Okay. So maybe I can try to write here how I can write it. Design. Okay, just give me a moment. Okay, I am sharing again, and okay, so for a specific, we know that okay, change color. So CV is equal to dq over dt at constant. It has to be at constant. Sorry, dq over dt at constant volume. Okay. So the volume is in the subscript. So subscript, how you can write subscript like this. Okay. And similarly Cp, I mean specific heat at constant pressure, if we have to write that, that is Cp is equal to same formula, no, sorry, copy, control V, but in place of volume it will be pressure. Okay. So these are the formulas of specific heat at constant pressure and specific heat at constant volume. So SI unit was also discussed. The SI unit of specific heat is joule per kg Kelvin. Okay, so this was given in the last class, and also I have given you this one in the note. Okay, so for liquids, so if we talk about liquids and gases, so gases have generally two specific heats. Okay, the specific heats at constant pressure and specific heat at constant volume. But liquids have only one specific heat. What is the specific heat of liquid? It is only at specific heat at constant pressure. Okay, because a liquid sorry, constant volume, not pressure. Liquid has only one specific heat. Okay, so when a liquid is heated, there is only an increase in volume, so the change in pressure is almost zero, hence negligible. Okay, so a liquid, for a liquid, the change is pressure is zero, but there may be some increase in volume. Okay, and so since the change in pressure is almost constant, therefore a liquid has only one specific heat, which is the specific heat at constant pressure. Because no, a liquid cannot be compressed that much, unlike a gas. No, you can compress a gas. Compress means you can reduce the volume of a gas by compression, but for a liquid, the volume cannot be compressed, or it is very difficult to compress the volume of a liquid. Okay, and therefore the pressure in case of a liquid is liquid almost remains constant. Okay, but the volume increases. Okay, the volume increases for both liquid and gas. Therefore you have to remember that a gas has two specific heats: specific heat at constant pressure and specific heat at constant volume, and a liquid has only specific heat at constant pressure. Why? Because the pressure is kept constant, but the volume of the liquid can be increased. Okay, so these things have been given in your note, so I think you can go through your note. It should not be that difficult. So today's important topic that I want to discuss with you is difference between two specific heats. Okay, two specific heats means the specific heats at constant pressure and at constant volume. Okay, so and actually this is your an application of first law of thermodynamics. Okay, so yeah, so by the application of first law of thermodynamics, you can find the differences in specific heats. Okay, okay, let me share one document with you. Just give me a moment. Just give me a minute. So I have made the note, and the note directly I will share with you. Okay, so I am cancelling this particular I am cancelling this particular share, and then I will share a PDF document. Just give me a moment. Okay, I hope you can see this PDF difference between two specific heats, CP and CV. Okay, I think the picture is a little bit blurred, but I hope this should not be difficult to understand. So difference between two specific heats. Okay, before going to this particular definition of two specific heats, so we have to know about one definition which is called gram molecular specific heat. Okay, because the concept of gram molecular specific heat we will use in your this thing in the derivation. Okay, so we have to derive the difference of specific heats. Okay. Okay, so what is gram molecular specific heat? The amount of heat required to raise the temperature of 1 gram molecule or 1 mole of a gas through 1 degree Celsius. That is gram molecular specific heat through 1 degree Celsius. Okay. So if you have to increase the temperature of 1 mole or 1 gram molecule of a gas by 1 degree Celsius, 1 mole. Okay. So earlier for specific heats we have only learned that the temperature has to be increased by 1 degree Celsius. Okay, but temperature of 1 gram of a substance. Okay, temperature of 1 gram of a substance has to be increased by 1 degree Celsius. But for gram molecular specific heat, in this case the amount of substance is nothing but 1 gram molecule or 1 mole. 1 mole of substance whose temperature you have to increase by 1 degree Celsius. So this is the only thing that you have to remember. And I think if you have understood this concept, then we can move to the topic called difference between two specific heats, as you can see here. Okay, the specific heats are Cp and Cv. Okay. Okay. Okay, so as you can see here in the note, consider a gram molecule of a gas having a volume V at a pressure P, capital P, and at a temperature capital Tk. Okay, so you have one mole of a gas where volume is V, pressure is P, and temperature capital Tk. So K here means the Kelvin scale. Okay, the Kelvin temperature. So you don't get confused about this. K means Kelvin. Okay. Contained in a cylinder closed by a piston as shown in the figure. Okay, I think I have not included the figure, but okay, anyway, whenever I will give you the note, I will include the figure also. Okay, so here I forgot to include the figure. Anyway, so I'll provide it to you. Okay, so actually you have a piston of a you have a gas in a vessel, and which is connected to the piston. Okay, so we'll come back to that. And okay, so now let us get to the mathematical part of this derivation. Okay, so the next we have written is the heat required to raise the temperature by a small amount dt at constant volume is. Okay, so heat required to raise the temperature by a constant volume is dqv. dqv is equal to cv dt. Okay, cv dt. So how this formula is coming, we have already learned that specific heat is dq over m dt. Okay, but here we are considering 1 gram molecule or 1 mole of a gas. Okay, so the quantity mass is involved in this quantity Cv. Okay, so Q equal to mc delta T. That formula you know, like if you not Q, sorry, dq. Like if you apply some amount of heat Q to a substance, then the heat Q is equal to mc delta T. M is the mass, C is the specific heat, and delta T is the increase in temperature. Okay, so like here dt is the increase in temperature. We have written here the raise the temperature by small amount dt. Okay, and since we are considering 1 gram molecule or 1 mole of a gas, in that case this CV is nothing but MCV. Okay, MCV means mass multiplied by specific heat. Mass multiplied by specific heat is gram molecular specific heat. Okay, the gram molecular specific heat we have just learned from definition. Okay, so where it is written that Cb is the gram molecular specific heat at constant volume. Okay, so Cb is gram molecular specific heat at constant volume. Okay, okay, so I hope remember this. So this expression is given equation number 1. Okay, now if instead of volume the pressure is kept constant, then the heat required to raise the temperature by a small amount dt at constant pressure is given by. Okay, so earlier we kept volume constant. Okay, the volume of the gas we kept constant. Okay, but now we will keep the pressure of the gas constant. Okay, we keep the pressure of the gas constant, and in that case what will be the relationship between temperature, or what will be the relationship between heat and specific heat supplied, specific heat, and increase in temperature. In earlier case it was dqv equal to cv dt. Now it is dqp cp dt. So dqp is the heat required to raise the temperature by dt at constant pressure. So earlier if we have written dqv equal to cv dt, now we are writing dqp is equal to cp dt. Okay, where cp is the gram molecular specific heat at constant pressure. Cp is gram molecular specific heat at constant pressure, just like Cv was earlier, gram molecular specific heat at constant volume. Okay. Okay. So yeah, Cp is gram molecular specific heat at constant pressure. Okay. Now you tell me, are you understanding or not? These are just definitions. Because if you have understood these definitions, then later the derivation parts you will also understand. So those who joined later, what we are doing, we are trying to find out a difference, the difference between specific heat at constant pressure and specific heat at constant volume. Okay. So yeah, and this thing, specific heat at constant pressure and specific heat at constant volume, I mean the difference between specific heat at constant pressure and volume is nothing but an application of first law of thermodynamics. Okay, that is what we are trying to do. Okay, now we have to learn a few things, and of course all these things are coming from the first law of thermodynamics. So what we have to learn, as the pressure remains constant. Okay, so here in this case, in the second case, you have kept the pressure constant, but the volume increases. Okay, the volume increases and work is done by the gas. Okay, so that we have already learned in the first law of thermodynamics. If you keep the pressure constant, then with the supply of heat to a gas or to a given system, the volume increases. Okay, and work is done by the gas. And again we have learned in the previous Previously when we learned about specific heat at constant volume, the volume of the gas increases. If the volume of the gas increases, then the gas itself does a work, or work is done by the gas. Okay, so that you learned this much, you learned from first law of thermodynamics. Okay, this first two lines. Okay, if capital A is the area of the piston which moves outward due to expansion of the gas. Okay, capital A is the area of the piston which moves outward due to expansion. Okay, so we have a vessel anyway, so I did not I have not included the figure, but when I will give you the note, I will include the figure. Okay, so we have a vessel. We have a vessel like this, and there is a piston. Okay, piston is like piston is like something like this, an instrument. So by which you can compress or you can increase, you can compress or you can extend the volume of a gas. So now if the volume of the gas is increasing, what will happen? The piston will move outside, okay, or outward. The piston will move outward. Why? Because the volume of the gas is increasing. Okay, you keep the pressure constant, but you supplied heat, therefore the volume of the gas will increase. And we know that if the volume of the gas increases, then what will happen? Then the gas will do a work. Okay, a work will be done by the gas. Okay, and suppose that moves outward. Due to the expansion, the gas moves by a distance dx. Okay, dx. Okay, let me draw somewhere here. Just give me a minute. Okay, in PowerPoint I will show you. Okay, just give me 1 minute. I will include, of course, I will include the figure with the note, but today I have not, I have forgotten, I did not include it here. Okay, I have stopped the sharing, and I will share this PowerPoint once again with you. Not this, that PowerPoint, then another PowerPoint. Okay, so here let me draw something. So this is a vessel, and suppose there is a piston like this. Okay, piston is okay. I'm drawing. I'm giving a very rough drawing. Okay. So this is a vessel, this one, and here we have a gas. Here we have a suppose gas, and this is a piston. Means piston you can move downward. Okay. If you move downward, the gas will compress. I mean, the volume of the gas will decrease, and if you take the move the piston outwards, the volume of the gas will increase. Okay, now what you do? Okay, just give me 1 more minute. I hope you can see this whatever I am drawing here. Okay, now you see what is the difference between this one. So here the piston is at this position. Okay, now you have supplied a heat to the gas. You have supplied some heat. Okay, so I will write here. You have supplied some heat to the gas. Okay, heat. So what will happen? The gas will expand. The gas will expand, or it means its volume increases. Okay. If the volume gas expands, its volume increases, that means the gas will do a work. That means the gas will do a work. Okay. And its volume increases means the piston has to move outward. Okay. The piston will move outward. Outward means towards above, upside. Okay, upside from here, upside. Suppose, and then what we have written is that A is the area of the piston. A is the area of the piston outward due to the expansion of the gas by a distance. Suppose the piston moves by a distance of dx. Okay, so can I draw dx somewhere here? Okay, just give me a moment. Okay, so more or less this difference from this bottom to the top, I think it is not very accurate here. I am trying to draw it. Okay, let me show it to you more accurately. Okay. Yeah, I think this is, you understand now. So from here to here the piston has moved, and this expansion of the piston is nothing but dx, small x. Okay, d small x. Okay, this arrow represents dx. That means the gas expands by distance dx. Then what will be the work done? Okay, so I hope this figure is clear to you. I mean, this is the this figure is required when we are talking about the difference between specific heats at constant pressure and volume. So you supply heat to a gas and the gas expands in volume. Okay, so this is the distance by which the piston move upwards. Okay, okay, then again I am going to the PDF document which I was showing you. Yeah, so we are at the PDF document. Okay, so then what is the work done by the gas? Okay, so the work done, so this separation dx, so the work done by the gas is dw is equal to pa dx. Now, what are these terms pa dx? So, what is the formula of work done? So, suppose in your 11th class, or even in your first semester mechanics, you have learned about work done. Huh? So, what is work done? Work done is force into displacement. Okay, so force is pressure into area. So what is pressure? Pressure is force over area. So the work done is actually force multiplied by, this is force multiplied by dx. Dx is displacement. Okay, and P is the pressure of the gas that we already mentioned. A is the area of cross section of the piston. Okay, and dx is the displacement. Okay, the displacement is also required. Now pressure remains constant in the gas. So it is mentioned somewhere where as the pressure remains constant. Okay, so the pressure is constant. Then you have area of the piston, and we have dx. Okay, so now pressure is constant, so what will change? The volume will change. Okay, yeah, so we also have written this one here. So the volume increases, pressure remains constant but volume increases. Volume means a dx. This quantity is nothing but the change in volume. Okay, so a P multiplied by A dx we can write as volume, dV. So dV, the change in volume, can be written as A multiplied by dx. A is the area of cross section of the piston, and dx is the displacement of the piston. So what is volume? Volume is nothing but area multiplied by distance, area multiplied by length. Okay, in this case the length is very small, dx, therefore the volume is dV. Okay, so dV is equal to, so this dV here is nothing but equal to A dx. Okay, so when we were learning about the first law of thermodynamics, in the equation we have learned that dq is equal to du plus p dv. Okay, so du plus p dv, or du plus dw. So how dw is equal to p dv? Dw is equal to p dv like this. So dw, I mean the work done by the gas, it involves the pressure of the piston, the area, the pressure on the gas, the area of cross section of the piston, and the displacement of the piston due to the increase in volume of the gas because of the supply of heat. Okay, so P remains constant, A dx is P dV. Okay, so dW is equal to P dV. I hope this concept is clear to you. Okay. Okay, so next we go according to the first law of thermodynamics. Why we are going to first law of thermodynamics? Because we are we want to apply first law of thermodynamics to calculate the difference between specific heat at constant pressure and the specific heat at constant volume. According to first law of thermodynamics, for an isochoric process, okay, so in thermodynamics we have to know what is an isothermal process, what is an adiabatic process, and what is an isochoric process, what is an isobaric process. So isochoric processes are those where the volume of the system remains constant. Okay, so you remember this, isochoric means the volume of the system remains constant. Drink some water. Okay, so what happens in an isochoric process? We have dqv is equal to duv plus dwv. So we know first law of thermodynamics, dq is equal to du plus dw. Okay, now as the volume remains constant, okay, so I hope you understood this from first law of thermodynamics, as we have already mentioned earlier. Okay, as the volume remains constant, so dwv is equal to pdv is equal to 0. You have understood this? So if the volume remains constant, then what is the change in volume? The change in volume is 0. Okay, because if something is from differential equations in mathematics, we have learned, if something is constant, then its rate of change or its change is 0, right? Therefore dwv is equal to pdv is equal to 0. That means dv equal to 0. If volume is constant, dv is 0, that means dwv is 0. Okay, then from this equation what we can write? We can write dqv is equal to duv. Why dqv is equal to duv? Because dwv is equal to 0. Okay, dWV is equal to 0. Therefore, first law of thermodynamics is reduced to something like this. Okay, suppose this is equation number 3. I hope this is clear to you, and of course I will give you the video, the recorded video, which you can watch also. So dUV, okay, so dQV is equal to dUV, okay, which is equation 3. Now dUV, so now let us go back to equation 1. Okay, in equation 1 you remember we had dQV is equal to CV dt. Okay, therefore dQV is equal to CV dt. That is what we had in equation 1. But in equation 3 we just found that dQV is equal to dUV. Okay, so we can rewrite equation 1 as like this. So dUV is equal to CV dt. Okay, so dUV becomes equal to CV dt. Okay, so I hope you have understood this. Okay, equation 4. For now, for an isobaric process or constant pressure, yeah, again once again another definition. What is an isobaric process? An isobaric process is a thermodynamic process in which the pressure of the thermodynamic system remains constant. Okay, for an isobaric process, the constant pressure process, so dWP is equal to P dVP. Okay, dWP is equal to P dVP. How? Because here, so here we have landed dW is equal to P dV. Okay, but we are writing in the subscript, we are writing in the subscript P. Why? Because we are performing this experiment at an environment of constant pressure. So dWP is equal to P dV and P. We have written one P in the subscript. Okay, I hope this is clear to you up to this. Okay, then again from first law of thermodynamics. So earlier here we employed first law of thermodynamics at constant volume, but here we are employing, where is it? Here we are employing first law of thermodynamics at constant pressure. Okay, so from first law of thermodynamics at constant pressure, we have dQP is equal to dUP plus PdVP. Okay, so it's same as this, but in place of V you have to write P. P means the pressure is being the process is being performed at constant pressure. Okay, that's why P in the subscript and P in the subscript, and if it is in constant volume, in that case V is in the subscript. Okay, I hope this is clear. Okay, now from equations 2 and 5. So what was equation 2? Equation 2 is dQP is equal to Cp dt. Okay, so dQP equal to Cp dt. This is what we got in equation 2. Okay, so Cp dt is equal to dup plus PdVP. Okay, so that is suppose equation 6. So you compare equations 2 and 5. Okay, in equation 2 we have already written like this. Okay, now you have to learn a few more things before we can go to the final derivation. Okay, what is that? The internal energy of an ideal gas only depends upon temperature. Okay, that is what we have learned already. The internal energy of an ideal gas depends on temperature, and temperature difference of the two processes is the same. Okay, so here it is not dependence. Okay, dependence I have cut actually. So temperature difference between the two processes is the same, be the process, if the process may be at constant volume or the process may be at constant pressure, the temperature difference is always the same. Okay, therefore, okay, so once again, whether the process is isobaric or isochoric, isobaric means constant pressure, isochoric means constant volume, the difference in temperature remains the same. Okay, that you have to remember. Therefore, because the temperature will rise by a certain amount. Okay, doesn't matter whether you are carrying out the process at constant pressure or volume. But now we know that internal energy depends on temperature. Okay, therefore DUP is equal to DUV. Okay, DUP is equal to DUV. So CPDT is equal to DUP. DUP is equal to DUV. Okay, so why DUV equal to DUP? Because internal energy depends only on one quantity, that is temperature. Therefore, for same temperature difference, the changes in internal energy will also be same. Okay, therefore we can just write DUP as equal to DUV. Okay, so if DUP is equal to DUV, then come to equation number 6. Equation 6, in equation 6 we will simply replace DUP by DUV. Okay, so that is what we have done here. CPDT is equal to DUV. Instead of DUP we have written DUV plus PDVP. Okay, PDVP. Now in equation 1, what okay, not equation 1. Okay, in equation 4, what we have got? DUV is equal to CV dt. Okay, DUV is equal to CV dt. So here in place of DUV you can replace that with CV dt. So you see, these things and processes are coming step by step, so you have to remember every step. Okay, so I will give you the note. You can it will be easier for you to follow from the note. Okay, so DUV is equal to CV dt. So CP dt, from equation 6 we have CP dt. DUP is equal to DUV, but DUV is equal to CV dt. Okay, that we got from equation 4. Okay, so some of you said that network connection is poor. Okay, I understand. Here also it has been raining since morning, no? So network is actually poor. Anyway, no problem. I am recording the video and I will upload this to Google Classroom. Okay, no problem. Okay, so let me quickly go to the derivation. So Cp dt is equal to Cv dt plus Pd Vp. Okay, so Cp minus Cv, look, this in these two quantities dt is common. Okay, dt is common, so you take dt common. Okay, dt is common, so Cp dt minus Cv dt. Okay, so that is what we have got here, is equal to Pd Vp. Okay, Pd Vp. Suppose this is equation 7. Okay, now but now we are talking about ideal gases. Okay, ideal gases, you know, the gases which obey perfect gas equation. Okay, that is why we are talking about ideal gas. Okay, perfect, they obey perfect gas equation. Perfect gas equation is nothing but PV equal to RT. Okay, perfect gas or ideal gas. Okay, ideal or perfect gas, same thing, don't get confused about that. PV equal to RT. Now if pressure is constant, then no? Okay, then you differentiate this equation PV equal to RT, it will be PdVp plus RdT. Okay, when the pressure is constant. So from equation 7 is this one. Okay, this is the equation 7. From equation 7, Cp minus Cv dt equal to P dVp can be written as R dt. Okay, R dt is here. So in that case, dt gets cancelled on both sides. So what remains? Remains is Cp minus Cv. Cp minus Cv equal to R. Okay. So have you seen this expression? This is the expression which is our required expression. Required expression means the difference between specific heats at constant pressure and specific heats at constant volume. Okay. Therefore, the difference between specific heat and specific volume is nothing but R. The capital R is the quantity called universal gas constant. Okay, I think you have already learned in your class 11 what is universal gas constant. Okay. So the difference between specific heat at constant pressure and constant volume is nothing but the quantity R. R is universal gas constant. Okay. So for a given gas, the difference between specific heat at constant pressure and specific heat at constant volume is actually a constant quantity, and the constant quantity is R. Okay. So it is clear that specific heat at constant pressure is always greater than specific heat at constant volume. In this equation, Cp, Cv and Cr are measured in joule per mole per Kelvin. Okay. So this is the unit of specific heat, you know, which is joule per mole per Kelvin. Okay. So okay, in calories, R by J. Okay. So R is a positive quantity which is 8.314 joule per Kelvin per mole. Okay. So you see somewhere what is the unit of universal gas constant. Okay, it is a positive quantity having this unit. Okay, and it is always since R is always a positive quantity, therefore Cp is greater than Cv. Okay, this quantity is bigger than this quantity. Okay, so this is always, you have to remember, Cp is greater than Cv. Okay, and they have the unit of this. Okay, so Cp and Cv are measured in calories. Okay, if Cp and Cv are measured in calories, so R is in joule. So if we have to convert joule into calorie, you have to divide joule by J. Okay, if you divide joule by J, J is the capital J, then you can convert joule into calories. So in calories you can write as this. Okay, Cp minus Cv equal to R by J. So this is all about the difference between specific heats at constant pressure and specific heats at constant volume. Okay, so I'll give you the note, you go through the note, and I also give you one figure related to this note, and I hope this will be more clear to you with the note. And of course you can watch this recorded video, this video which I am recording. It will be even good for you. Okay. Okay, I think that's all about today's class, and I will share the notes with you, and I have also recorded the video.